Well, the Modi government has unleashed something that I call financial terrorism. What happened with demonetization is there for the world to see. Hundreds of people died. Black money wasn't recovered because, of course, it could not have been recovered in that manner. The government kept justifying it, the government kept changing goalposts. And now, within 6 months, GST is brought in. And it has made business incredibly difficult. So what is happening is essentially a rampant loot of public money, whereas, people like Jay Shah, who is Amit Shah's son, his reserves are multiplying by 16,000 times, and media who talk about it, media outlets which talk about it, they are being censored. The State Bank of India asks its customers to keep a 5,000 rupee, minimum 5,000 rupee deposit in the banks, which is huge by Indian standards, which is huge by the standards of common man. And then these loans are given to big corporates, then these bailouts are given to big businesses. That is what is really happening, and because the Modi government has completely failed to create any positive impact, any jobs or employment, the people, they can see through this. What you are observing actually is, there are farmers who are protesting everywhere in the country. This is because the kind of economic ruin that demonetization and GST together have brought to the farmers, to the traders, that is the anger that you see reflected in protests in Sikar, in Tamil Nadu, in Mandsaur, the traders protesting in Gujarat. Like that is really what has caused the shift in public mood against Modi. Unfortunately, the government has been quite predictable, especially if you look at the BJP tactics. It's quite predictable. It has been established that communal riots always benefit the BJP electorally. And now the new form of communal violence is these lynch mobs. So what we've been saying is that we don't want lynch mobs, we want jobs. We don't mobs, but not mobs, but jobs. So we are precisely talking about mobs and jobs together, because all these lynch mobs, they are, first of all, these are constituted by 20 to 25-year-old men. Why don't they have jobs? What are they doing in these lynch mobs? And the government is actually cultivating lynch mobs. The Indian government is cultivating lynch mobs. It cannot do anything about employment, but it is using, it is dividing youth, and it is turning neighbor against neighbor, turning youth against youth. That is what it is doing, and which is why I choose to call the GST also Gau Suraksha tax, because the government is extracting tax, right? But what is the government doing? What is the tangible outcome? All you see is the maintenance of Gaurakshak does. Like that is what the government is doing with our tax money. And sad but true that by 2019 we expect this whole thing to increase. I have said this. See, we have tried different tactics with the media. What often gets highlighted is how I asked a Republic TV reporter to leave the protest venue. But what doesn't get highlighted is, for example, at the peak of the media witch hunt of JNU, Pavan Nara, a Zee News journalist, he was there in JNU, and the day we had a big rally for the release of Kanhaiya, I actually gave him a rose on behalf of all the students, on behalf of the student body. Now that doesn't get highlighted. We have tried those tactics too, but this doesn't really work. Hours into Gauri Lankesh's murder, Republic TV, for example, tries to twist the whole narrative and tries to misquote the Karnataka Home Minister. This role that the media is playing, like constantly abusing Kashmiris or constantly abusing Muslims on mainstream media every day, prime time every day. I often draw a parallel between Rwanda and hate radio. The role that hate radio played in perpetuating the genocide of Tutsis in Rwanda. That is what the Indian media is doing right now. So this isn't media. So when you are a media professional, I, for example, I wouldn't talk to just about anybody. I talk to you because you're a journalist. You are expected to, when you have this kind of access to people's lives, you are expected to abide by certain ethics, right? All these new media outlets, Republic TV, Times Now, they do not abide by these ethics. So there they make the argument, oh well, we only care about TRP, right? Whatever gets the TRPs, and they shamelessly make this argument. And they say that this is a business for us. Well, if this is a business for us, then we are going to treat you as salesmen, right? But why should I treat a channel which calls itself, which says that it is solely concerned with TRPs in business? I should treat them as just a salesperson who shows up at your door. These people have actually brought a bad name to journalism. So, I actually think that they're playing a very criminal role in dividing the society right now. So when a very tragic massacre of Jawans in Sukma took place, Times Now was asking not where the Home Minister is or what Modi government has done to curb these insurgencies. What they were asking is where are the Umars and the Kanhaiyas, right? That is, so what are you essentially saying? I mean, essentially they are saying that Umar and Kanhaiya somehow are responsible for the Sukma massacre. Like that is what they are saying. And I've talked about how Najib was branded as an ISIS supporter or ISIS sympathizer by these media, without like the slightest bit of basis. It's completely baseless. And it is actually one of the rare occasions when the Delhi police has actually stepped in to clarify, otherwise it doesn't usually do that. Now this kind of role, this repeated, now I mean if you look at it structurally, the Times Group is establishing a private university. Okay, so Samir Jain comes here, he had come to Maryland and he had tried to hire researchers from here for his private university. They have a direct stake in the destruction of JNU, which is the best university, so that you can privatize and you can sell your competitive education, etc., etc. They are hell-bent on destroying the #1 university because they are, the Times Group, Bennett and Coleman, they are opening a university. It's actually that stark. I would draw a distinction between some people who own big businesses or who are very much part of the establishment here or in India. I mean, there is of course the Hindu American Foundation, Republican Hindu Association. There are all of those organizations which have business interests, and that is why they kind of they also suck up to the Trump administration in a sense. However, there are many young people that I've been interacting with, and these really are my hope for the future of India, whether Indian American community or India in general. A lot of young people are concerned, and they are in fact very ashamed that this is happening in their name, that while they are here, minorities back home in India are being suppressed in their name. And I find that there is a lot of hope in that sense. A lot of youth have been coming up to me and they've been talking to me. There is of course a denial on part of some people. I wouldn't say that it's not there, but I hope that people sooner or later see through this. Because when Srinivas Kuchibhotla was killed in a hate crime, this was very much like a Muslim getting killed in India. So I hope that people see that. It is really, it is a kind of, it's kind of shameful that people who argue for minority rights here oppose the same thing back home. But I hope that this will change. The thing is, I get this question is asked all the time, but we really don't think of safety in terms of a private issue. Like, it's not a private issue. Safety is a public issue, precisely because our country is so unsafe. Precisely because there are rapes, there are murders, there are lynch mobs, there are riots. That is why we do activism, rather than staying away from activism, because of it is the reason. We want a more non-violent society. We want a more peaceful and just society. And it's only when every one of us is safe that people like Gauri Lankesh will be safe, people like us will be safe.